What's a thing dumb people say that makes them think they sound smart? Thinking that getting a reaction out of someone is the same thing as winning an argument. Something along the lines of "you can't prove it didn't happen." A guy at work tried to pull this one on me. He believed one of those Animal Planet mockumentaries about a giant killer shark was real. When I told him it was all fiction and that there was no real proof of this kind of stuff, he tried to argue back about while he couldn't prove it, I couldn't disprove it either. There's a saying about getting into an argument with a stupid person. This was my real-world experience with it. My friend once used the phrase by its very definition while we were arguing about something, so I asked him what the definition actually was. While he fumbled with that a bit, I told him to stop using weasel words. Do your own research. It's up to you to present your sources, not the person you are debating to find ones for you. Not to mention that me doing my own research could easily lead me to very different sources, for better or worse, meaning we could very easily reach different conclusions. Everything happens for a reason, nothing is actually free as someone has to pay for it, both parties are the same. You may have book smarts, but I have street smarts. Common sense isn't so common anymore, but that's how we've always done it. Debate and silencing. Dumb people love to present everything as a debate when they are factually wrong. I'm talking about idiotic shit like climate change debate or vaccine debate. There is no debate. This isn't two opposing viewpoints on equal footing with even scores on either side. These are scientific questions which have been asked and answered 50 years ago. One side is supported by evidence. The other side is supported by a butthurt need to be contrarian and oppose the consensus. Then when you refuse to even entertain them, they talk about how you are silencing them. They talk like they're entitled to a captive audience for their bullshit. When someone says debate, I immediately think of a toddler having a tantrum because an adult has locked away the Tide Pods. That scenario is as much of a debate as climate change or vaccines. Making references to some generic they without specifying who. Example from yesterday, brother, they won't ever release the real election numbers. Me, the entire state of Georgia and Fox News have gone on record saying there was no mass voter fraud. You can Google the official articles or YouTube the actual news clips. Actual sources versus made-up sources. When people use I instead of me incorrectly. Example, once you've confirmed the details, please let Sarah and I know. The trick is to take the other person out of the sentence. You wouldn't say, please let I know, you would say, please let me know, so the sentence should read, please let Sarah and me know. Correlation doesn't mean causation. The phrase is not wrong in itself, but just spouting it for every shown correlation as a way to dismiss its worth is kinda dumb. Nothing means causation. True causation cannot be proven in real life. The point of scientific method is to make correlations as reliable as possible by controlling for confounding factors. And then use that to create models that can to some degree predict future outcomes. It's not true causation, but it's not useless just because it's a correlation. A coworker told us he thinks there would be less mass shootings if more punk kids got their asses beat growing up. My God, he couldn't be more wrong. Anytime anyone tries to argue that beating kids makes them better adults, I just feel sorry for them. Beating kids does more harm than good. Also, if you hit kids to get them to listen, they could turn into adults who don't listen unless there's a risk of being hit. Or they'll just resent their parents, or they'll continue the cycle with their own kids.